What's going on, everyone? Today I'm going to show you how to optimize your Amazon PPC campaigns for 2020. Now, Amazon has made quite a few features to their advertising platform. Mainly, they've made it much easier for sellers to bulk add all of the different match types into one campaign. And I'm going to show you that it's still better, even though Amazon does have this feature to make it easier for you to add all of the match types. It's much better to have each individual match type into separate campaigns. Now I'm going to show you a campaign that we've had running all year long, so that way I can show you what's worked and what hasn't worked and what you can do today to implement in your Amazon PPC campaigns to make your 2020 year an amazing year in your Amazon business. But first, my name is Sebastian. I'm the CEO of ZonRush, where we help Amazon sellers like yourself optimize their business for maximum sales. And if you want more videos like this where we share strategies and tips and tricks that are working today for Amazon sellers, then consider subscribing to my channel and joining my private Facebook group where we share more information and more tactics that'll help you succeed in 2020. Alright, so here's what I wanted to show you. So basically, this is for a not so competitive product. The bids on these particular campaigns have been modest throughout the entire year. They haven't been too aggressive. They haven't been non-competitive. So we've really had a median amount of aggressiveness with the bidding strategy specifically and the budget specifically. Now I'm going to show you what's contributed to the average ACOS being below 25%. That's still a little high for us. We're going to get lower than that, but I just wanted to show you what the skeleton, what the bones of a profitable campaign look like throughout the entire year. So we basically launched this particular product in January. You could see, PPC costs are going to be a little bit higher whenever you're launching. That's just because your product won't have any reviews, and that's fine. Don't get discouraged if the first 30 days you just see PPC out of control. Unless it's above 100%, then you should really look at the keywords in your particular campaign and see which words you can pause or completely archive and where you can improve what you're already doing so that way you can get to profitable levels. Because one caveat that I will say is that if you do have a high ACOS during your launch, partly it's going to be because you don't have any reviews and you just need to pay a little bit more money before Amazon essentially trusts your product with more impressions in the ad auction. Or it could be that you just have the wrong keywords in your Amazon PPC campaigns to begin with. So I would take a close look and examine how well the keywords are performing. And that could be information for you to extract in order to pivot and put profitable keywords that are 100% relatable to your product. And that's the key right there, is you want to have keywords that are 100% relevant to your product. If you have a lot of broad keywords in there, it's going to be hard for someone, if you're selling, let's say, charcoal powder, and someone's typing in charcoal toothpaste, it's going to be really hard for you to convert. Though they're similar, it's not the exact thing the customer is looking for. So make sure your campaigns are 100%, all the keywords in your campaigns, I should say, have 100% relevant keywords. Now, with that out of the way, assuming that you have 100% relevant keywords, a higher ACOS is still expected the first month. But you can see throughout the year we've been able to maintain ACOS. Again, the bids have been incredibly low and the budgets have been really low. Now I wanted to point something else out real quick before I get into the meat of this training, and that's if this is your first year selling on Amazon, we got bombarded with emails regarding, especially with new clients, that their ACOS just went out of control. And that's why they decided to work with us. But up until the point where they worked with us, their ACOS just spun out of control beginning on October. And we had a lot of clients come in October basically with the same problem. Their ACOS was just too high. And what I wanted to show you was that part of that is, you do need to be competitive with the keywords, bids, and all that. But Q4 is the most expensive time to advertise on Amazon, and that's going to be September, October, November, December. And the reason for that, it's fairly straightforward, and it's because all of the holiday sales traffic, sellers are trying to capitalize on all of that sales traffic, so they're willing to pay more. They're willing to pay a higher cost per click in order to show their ads to get more sales. And Amazon's pushing these emails to just raise your bids, And so Q4 is just always across the board going to be competitive. I mean, there's, I'm sure, quite a few exceptions, but just as a general average for the coming next year, when you're budgeting, make sure that you have in the back of your mind. And I wanted to show you that, as you can see, for this particular campaign, we've had ACOS below 25% for most of the year, and then once October hit, you can start to see that ACOS is starting to go up, and then in January, at the end of January, it begins to go down, and that's because Chinese New Year, and sellers, are they don't have as much inventory, so this is one of the the best times to launch. As a side note, this Q1, Q2, because with the Chinese New Year, sellers are a little bit more restricted on inventory, and so they're not as aggressive. So we'll start to see ACOS go down. But if you saw your ACOS just like shoot up at the end of September and October up until now, it's partially because of the holiday season. Q4 is just expensive across the board, which makes this training that much more important for you to pay attention to. All right, so this is what I really wanted to show you now. I wanted to show you that having the match types in individual campaigns is much more profitable than having all of the match types. So you got broad, exact, phrase, having those match types in one campaign. And I just wanted to show you a little bit on how I mean this, and then I'm going to show you the way Amazon's updated their system to allow you to basically cram everything into one campaign. But I'm going to show you for efficiency purposes and for profitability purposes, you want to have them separate. Now, it is more work, and it's a lot more hands-on when you separate the campaigns as opposed to having everything just jumbled up together. But it's worth it for the long run. I just showed you, the entire year practically of an ACOS below 25%, and now I'm showing you how we've been able to maintain that. Because I still get sellers saying, well, just put them all in one campaign because you can just easily manage it. And I'm going to show you that though it might seem easier, it's less profitable, and here's why. So basically, this is a campaign that just has broad keywords. This one has nothing but phrase, exact keywords, auto, and this is one of our keyword ranking campaigns. And as you can see, each campaign is below, on average, it's 25% average ACOS. So these are profitable campaigns. They've been running all year. We've had, pretty low budgets. Just as an experiment with this product, we've just been showing that it's possible, even with the low budget and, modest bids, it's possible to stay profitable. So I can tell you that each one of these campaigns, our bid strategy is 30% below Amazon's suggested bid. So Amazon gives you a suggested bid when you put your keywords in there, and we're doing 30% below that. Okay, so that's what's allowed us to stay profitable. Sure, we could have had more sales if we've had, at Amazon's bid, at Amazon's suggested bid, or even just above it. So it really depends on your particular product. So I would experiment with this strategy. And if you're, into this for the long run, do an experiment for 30 days. We've did 30% because it's just what we've seen work for us and for all of our clients. But some products do really well at Amazon's suggested bid and just don't get enough impressions when they're 30% below. Your product can be more competitive than others. We've even seen some not even do well at Amazon's suggested bid with practically no impressions, so you'll have to go a little bit higher. But the point is, you're going to want to experiment so that we can have that data. So for 30 days, do 30% below Amazon's suggested bid. 30 days after that, measure your results. 30 days after that, do Amazon's suggested bid. And then 30 days after that, 30% above Amazon's suggested bid. And you can measure your ACOS month to month. You can measure your sales, and will be able to clearly see what the balance is between high sales velocity and profitability for your account. And so this is how we've always done it. This is how we always do it for our clients. We always build separate campaigns per match type. And here's the reason why. So you're going to want to pay close attention to this part. The reason why you want to have them in separate campaigns is because you can picture each match type like a pool, right? So you got a pool of exact keywords, you got a pool of broad keywords, and you got a pool of phrase keywords. And each one has their own independent source of unique traffic. You might say, well, broad and phrase keywords are going to basically be the same, but they're not. They have their own dedicated sources of traffic, okay? Though they might be similar, they're not the same. And so if you're not capitalizing on all of those different pools, if you will, then you're really allowing Amazon. So here's how it works if they're all in one campaign. You just put them all in one campaign. So what Amazon's going to do is, instead of giving priority on a campaign basis, they're going to give priority on a bid basis. So if all your keywords are all of these different match types in one single campaign, they're all going to be rotated throughout the day based on bid strategy, etc., etc. But if they're in separate campaigns, Amazon puts it on a higher priority because it's its own independent campaign. So by splitting them up, you're actually getting more traffic and more sales, as you can clearly see right here. And if we would have just done a standard broad campaign, you would see we would have left all of these sales on the table, and vice versa. And if these were all, again, in one campaign, the sales would not look like this because you're rotating. Amazon's going to rotate throughout the day between the different match types instead of giving it equal distribution evenly throughout the day. I hope that makes sense. If they're all in one campaign, Amazon's going to rotate the keywords and the sales based on competitiveness. If they're in separate campaigns, you're actually going to get the maximum amount of impressions possible per keyword, per match type, because it's its own dedicated campaign. And that's what I wanted to basically go over for you in this training. Was it's much more profitable to have separate campaigns in for every single match type, because their sales are just there. And we do have a software that actually allows us to do this, or our own internal software, the one we use to help our clients, does bid optimizations on a daily basis, so it's much quicker for us. But if you only have one product and you have some spare time, then it's worth to also experiment throughout the day, or even on a weekly basis, changing up your bids. So you can also change your bids on a weekly basis once you've found what bid strategy already works for your account. So after those 90 days, you did 30% below suggested, 30% above. Then after that, you can start being a little bit more creative with your bid strategies, and then test it on a weekly basis. So it's test, 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 test. But it's important that you do this if you want your business to thrive in 2020, because Amazon's advertising platform has gotten extremely robust. So it makes it easier for companies like myself to optimize with our own software, because our software's doing optimizations daily for our clients. So you'll want to continually feed Amazon new variables in order for your account to stay profitable. And it's totally doable if you do it on a weekly basis. Experiment with the bids, but you have to keep track of your profitability and your ACOS if you're adjusting the bids on a weekly basis. And it's super easy to do. Now, if you want a more in-depth tutorial on how to optimize your Amazon PPC campaigns, basically what we just went over, but in more detail, then check out this next video coming up, where I'll show you how to integrate automation that'll make your life so much easier into your Amazon PPC campaigns, that'll help you push profitability to new levels in 2020. And don't forget, if this is your first time watching one of my YouTube videos, consider subscribing to my channel and joining my private Facebook group. I'll have a link below so you can check us out, where we share, and we're an awesome, great community of Amazon sellers looking to exchange and provide as much value as possible. Well guys, I'll see you on the next video.